Hi, my name's Grist and I'm a spiritual author, tarot reader, and I do soul coaching, intuitive soul coaching with lots of lovely international clients. I just wanted to talk to you today about how to activate your intuition. The importance of activating your intuition is vital on a spiritual path, particularly in the beginnings of a spiritual path. Because so often in life, the reason we're seeking and needing a spiritual path is because we've come so far away from our own being, our own true essence, our spiritual self. And I believe that spiritual self communicates with us through our intuition. And our intuition, what is that, you might ask? It's a term that's bandied around a lot by a lot of spiritual people. It's as simple as your gut instinct, your inner knowing, what some people might call a woman's instinct or a mother's instinct. It's that thing where you just know. You know something's going to happen. You know somebody's on the end of the phone. You think of somebody and then there they are in the supermarket despite not having seen them for 10, 20 years. You want a specific recipe and you turn the telly on and there's Jamie Oliver giving you that exact recipe. Intuition connects you not only to your own inner self, but to the inner self of the universe, I guess, to an expanded, huge consciousness that I believe we're all connected to. And I think that when we become disconnected from it, we can become very unhealthy, very unhappy, very stressed. So it's really important to try to connect to your intuition every day as like an ongoing, purposeful, mindful exercise, and it soon becomes easier. At first it might be hard work and you have to mind check yourself. You maybe make notes in a journal and have conversations with like-minded friends trying to get this intuition thing going. But you know what? It becomes easier and it becomes more permanent and it becomes something you can enjoy and it happens naturally. So you might be thinking, why aren't I already connected? Well, you are. You are and you're not. You're obviously watching this video because you want to connect more. I want you to consider the kind of times in your life where you've had an intuitive moment, you've thought, oh, I should do this, or perhaps I shouldn't do this, but you've ignored that advice. And what's happened? You know, it might be something as simple as maybe this morning or yesterday, part of you thought, oh, I should take such a route home from work today, but you ignored that intuition because maybe normally that route's a little bit longer. And so you've gone your usual route. And you've run your usual route and there's been a massive traffic jam and it's taken you an extra hour. You know, just normal, everyday stuff like that, where we ignore that little voice inside. It might be, you know, an instinct about someone we meet, whether we really like them or we don't like them, or there's something that we feel a connection there. That can be your intuition speaking. It could be a situation where you don't quite feel comfortable, an event you're not looking forward to, and you attend anyway, and perhaps, you know, something happens that makes you feel even less comfortable, and you wish you'd listened to your intuition. You wish you'd just stayed home in your pajamas and watched The Walking Dead, for God's sake. But, you know, there's a million ways your intuition can speak to you, and there's a million ways you can override it and ignore it. And you know, again, it might be something as simple as you trying to be healthy, and that little voice inside says, you know, oh, eat the apple, and the other voice says, no, eat the ice cream. You know, you're screwed. Most of the time, you're going to eat the ice cream. I've been there, I've done that. I still do occasionally eat the ice cream. But more often than not, since listening to my intuition, I eat the apple. And that's not just on a food level, it's on a life level. You know, I do the healthier things because that's what my intuition guides me to do. So you are connected, you are hearing that voice. It just might be that you're not listening. And part of the time we don't listen is because the ego gets in the way. And the ego is the voice that says you can't do that, you shouldn't do that, you're not capable of doing that, that's scary, you should be afraid of that, nobody else does that, you're going to fail, you know, you're going to fall flat on your face, you're not good enough, you know, you don't look the part, you don't talk the part, you don't sound the part. It's all of those voices that keep us small, you know, that stop us doing things. If I had listened to my ego, maybe I wouldn't have written a book, or maybe I wouldn't have done it in the same way, or maybe I wouldn't be making this video because I'd be telling myself I wasn't good enough, I wasn't famous enough, my books hadn't sold enough. You know, all these kind of things that can be quite frightening and intimidating, and that stop us from moving forward and from listening and hearing that wisdom of the intuition, because the intuition is telling you you are good enough, you can do it, you are capable. It's the reason why you have sparks of insight, sparks of ideas, and sparks of, you know, passion that comes totally from your intuition. But like I said, the ego will overrule that time and time again. So that's another thing that you have to kind of get to know. And something that helps with overcoming the ego is, of course, meditation and being mindful about your life. So mindful about the thoughts that run through your head and checking them. You know, a lot of the time we think these thoughts and we don't check them. We just let them happen. And we presume that because they're in our head, they are therefore correct. So we hear a voice say, oh, but you're worried. This worries you. So we become worried. Why? Why does it worry us? What's the reality there? Is there something to actually be worried about? Has anything even happened? Or is this just a false, fear-laden paranoia, really, that's stopping us from doing what we really, truly want to do? You need to become mindful of your reactions. You know, so often we might start a fight, indulge in a fight, carry on a fight, be difficult with people, be awkward with people, be angry with people, be grumpy with people, be grumpy with ourselves, be grumpy with our pets. You know, there's a million ways that your reactions can slow you down and stop you from hearing that intuition as well. So watch your mind, watch your reactions and how you are in the world, and become very conscious of those two things, because so often we're not conscious. We just go about doing what we're going to do, so we think we're worried about something, and then somebody says something to us, we snap at them, and it's like this spiralling, awful, rolling ball of misery and pain that we put ourselves and other people through. And actually the whole time we could just choose not to listen to that initial thought that tells us we're worried, not to then have a bad reaction, and instead to tune into this beautiful inner wisdom that's waiting for us to listen. And that's all I'm asking you to start doing, is to start listening. And then you can take it beyond your immediate self as well, because I do believe we're connected to all things, and I believe that your intuition can speak most loudly sometimes through nature, through signs, through other people, through a song that comes on the radio, through a couple of turtle doves that fly in through your window and whatnot. It happens, it's happened, things like that have happened. Since writing my book, the stories I get told are immense and incredible, of how nature and how the world and how even technology can speak to us if we are open to those signs. And it's not a sign of going crazy. It's literally just a different understanding of the world. And from here on in, you can start to change your patterns, change who you are, change your reactions to things, change how you interact with your own mind, and instead start to interact from the heart. And yeah, this is going to push you outside of your comfort zone. It did with me, you know, to go from listening to such a loud voice in your head to not listening to it and choosing to ignore it, when it's perhaps kept you safe, and perhaps, yes, it might have kept you small, but you've been felt protected by it. But to stop listening to those negativities and to start listening to really beautiful, positive, happy things about yourself and the potential that you have is a difficult thing. But why should it be difficult? Why can't we all be beautiful and wonderful and positive and have so much potential within us that we must follow? And your intuition will help you to do that in ways that are uncharted, because this is you, and your intuition is going to tell you to do something completely different than probably mine would. But you have a purpose here on this planet, and your intuition wants you to tune into it so that it can lead you towards that purpose and help you live a happier, calmer, more lovely life. So there's all kinds of ways you can interact with your intuition. You can use guidance cards. I use tarot cards. You can play with them, you can mess around with them, you can look at the pictures, read for friends, you know, and see what that arises within you as well, because it's kind of a playful way of doing it, in that you're looking at an image and seeing what that evokes, what kind of feeling that brings in your gut instinct, what words might come to your mind, what colours might even spark or flash within you, what kind of feeling it might leave in your stomach, that kind of thing. It's all great fun. Again, asking for signs from the universe. That's a great way of getting started for your intuition. You can just ask for it. Just close your eyes now and join in with me. Dear universe, please can I have a sign? Just any sign to show that my faith is rewarded and that I am supported and that we're all connected. Done. And then when that sign comes, believe it. That's your job. That's your only job, is to wait for a sign and then believe it when it comes. And that could be all kinds of things. I've experienced all kinds of signs in my life, whether it's writing on the side of a lorry and music coming on at a certain time, an animal acting in a way that's unusual or repetitive, or keep seeing the same animal, you know, a literal sign by the side of a motorway, you know, an overheard conversation. There's a billion ways that the universe can give you a sign, and once you've had that sign, there's no backing out, because then you know that you are connected, and if you're connected to everything else, how easy is it to connect to this, to you? As you go about trying to activate your intuition, yes, you're going to get blockages and you're going to get stoppages, and sometimes you're going to have a negative day, and sometimes you're going to think less positive, because positive thinking is, of course, key as well. And sometimes you'll overrule that positive thinking, and you'll let that fear and that ego and that weirdness and horribleness all sneak back in. Forgive yourself if that happens, let it go, and spark your intuition again, and just start listening and having moments of silence so you can hear it, and moments of peace. And you know, maybe it's as simple as when you're driving, or perhaps you listen to music when you're travelling on a bus or a tube or a plane or a train. You know, instead of listening to the music, sit in silence, or listen to meditation music, or, you know, go for a walk around the park at lunch instead of staring at your phone screen. Come on, we're all guilty of that. And all of these things kind of take us away from ourselves. But if you're in nature, and if you're alone, or in a, not necessarily alone, you could be in a meditation group with 30 other people. It doesn't matter. If you're in that space with yourself, that's when you can start to hear your intuition. And it is such a positive and happy, life-changing, life-affirming thing to do. So I totally hope that you're going to go away and that you've taken something from this, and that you can start this moment to activate your intuition. I am going to be running some workshops in England only, I'm afraid, based on this, although I might branch out onto the internet if people like it, helping people to spark their intuition. So look out for me this summer, hopefully in various different places, talking about this across the UK. Again, you can follow me on Facebook, Spiritual Author Alice Grist, on Instagram, Alice Grist, Twitter, Alice Grist. All the details and the spellings, etc. are below. And yeah, and I post lots of spiritual wisdom and things about intuition and tarot and other spiritual stuff too. So it'd be great if you came and joined me, and also check out my books, because there's a lot more information in there too. Okay, thank you. Activate your intuition. Good luck. Goodbye.